Hello everyone, it's Josh from your boy Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream. And in this video, I'm going to be doing another vlog. Sorry I haven't been doing the vlogs for the past few days. I'm going to explain myself. So pretty much what'll end up happening is I get thrown off schedule. I'll like get home a little bit later than like I normally do, or for whatever reason, no, it's pretty much the get home late thing. Like it'll be you're hanging out with like a friend, you get home late, and then you start doing like your normal routine. I normally try to around like 10 or 10:30, like exercise, shower, eat, and then like do the vlog or whatever. Not exactly in that order. Excuse me, but the vlog is always like at the end of that. So if I get home, I'm just too tired, then I end up like knocking things off schedule, and then I end up just missing the vlogs. It'll be that, or if I'm not like too tired as in I got home late, I might be too like emotionally tired. Like I'm just not like feeling up to it. I'm gonna try and stop doing that. I'm really upset that I've missed like the past few vlogs. So I'm gonna try to have no more of these vlog delays. I've also missed fan polls, and the fan polls are due to the fact that this week's just been like a weird week. I was supposed to have a date like a few days ago. I ended up canceling a fan poll for a date. I had like a group meeting that was connected to like a project a few days ago, and I was like, I gotta make sure that I get as much work done on this project. So I ended up canceling a fan poll for that. So it's just been like a big clusterfuck recently, but I'm gonna try and get back to doing like daily uploads on the channel. Also, I haven't explained myself. I'm sweaty as fuck. I just got back from a party at the not sorority at the fraternity that's across the way. I have a fraternity that I live like right next to, and all I do at these parties is just dance the whole time. So I went over there and I danced until like 2 a.m. when they were like, "Yo, everybody out" or whatever. So that was fun. Also, I got this non-alcoholic sangria or whatever. I'd never had sangria before, but this is like an non-alcoholic, like virgin sangria. It's weird. It tastes really weird. I don't know how to describe it. Um, it's like old fruit, but not bad. Like that's it sounds gross. I don't know how to describe it in a way that doesn't sound gross, but it tastes like old fruit, like fizzy old fruit, but it's good. I feel like that's not like a very flattering thing to say about any drink. Let me try and get the live dashboard up. I wanted to have the live chat up for D&D today, but I was connected to the wrong internet. I was connected to Matt's apartment's internet instead of Colin's apartment, so it just wasn't loading the live chat stuff properly. So I'm sorry. I saw if you guys jumped into it, but I saw that after it like started loading properly. So that was my bad. Let me get the live chat up. Let me start talking about my day actually, because I really haven't. We're gonna start at April 10th, and then we're gonna move forward from there. Uh, I guess I'm gonna redo my intro right now, even though we're like 3.5 minutes in. Hello everyone, it's Yoshi from your boy Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream, and today I'm gonna be talking about April 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's currently April 13th. I just got back from a party, which is why I'm all sweaty. I'm currently drinking a non-alcoholic sangria or whatever. Let's get started. Let's talk about my day. Also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like on the video, smash that subscribe button, and feel free to jump in the live chat. Tell me how you're doing today, if you have any questions for your boy, and if you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream. I'm still trying to get the live chat up. It's late, so I don't think a lot of people are going to tune in, but if anyone does tune in, I don't want to like miss them. But I just don't see the live chat coming up for whatever reason. When I pull up the live dashboard, it'll get fixed eventually, and messages should pop up on my phone, so we should be straight. So like I said, we're going to start on April 10th. So April 10th, when I describe it, I'm going to be talking as if it's that day, so keep that in mind. So last night on the vlog, Kels mentioned that I should probably be more forward about being divorced. I added it to my Tinder profile that I'm divorced, and I woke up to multiple messages from this girl, Sunny, that I was supposed to go on a date with, but I couldn't see them. Like, my phone got the notifications for them, I hit the notifications, and then she didn't appear in my match list anymore. So I imagine she saw that I was divorced, that she freaked out, that she sent me a bunch of messages, but I was asleep. so there was no way for me to get those messages, and then she like dipped. So that felt like a really hard trip. That was like the first thing that I woke up to, and it just felt kind of shitty because I pretty much was like, wow, I think I lost a date on one word because all I added to the top of my profile was divorce. That was it. So that was really shitty. But that wasn't the only surprise that I woke up to. I received an email reminding me of a virtual career fair that I completely forgot about. And one of my team members started texting me about like the group PowerPoint. They forgot that we had like a group project to work on, so they just hadn't started working on the PowerPoint at all. So that was really gross. So I woke up earlier than normal, and I had like homework and laundry to do, and I had a teammate who was freaking out over a project, and I had like essentially had a date canceled that I had already like canceled a fan poll for. So I just felt like I was like in a mountain of shit. I tried to log into that virtual career fair that I forgot about, and it said that I couldn't log in, even though I woke up early and used the links provided in the career fair email. So it's not like I missed the time of the career fair, it was like the right time. I followed the login steps, and then it was like, oh, you can't log in. And then like I tried again, and I like did it a little bit differently because it asked me if I registered using a particular service, and I was like, I don't remember registering using that service. So I was like, no. And then I was like, well, you can't log in. And then I was like, well, maybe I did register using that service. I just don't remember. So I just said yes. And it was like, you can't log in. There was like no change between saying yes or no. And I didn't know what else I could do. So I couldn't do the career fair. I finished my homework and my laundry though. I was like, man, I no longer have that date I was going to do. But maybe I can hit up Danica. It's always good to hang out with Danica and to just talk about stuff on my mind, talk about like comics and superheroes and stuff like that. But when I had Danica, she was like, "Oh, I'm busy. I got like a lot of assignments to do or whatever." And I was like, "Ah, man." So I couldn't hang out with Danica. So I ended up listening to some folk music. That's like Danica's favorite type of music. And I enjoyed it. It wasn't that bad. I'm not a big fan of folk music with lyrics, is what I've learned. But I definitely prefer folk music instrumentals because they feel really cinematic. They feel like they're straight out of a movie. I walked outside for a bit, and then I saw a lot of people outside. There was like an event going on, but I didn't really talk to a lot of people. I just didn't really know how to feel. So I was feeling like kind of bummed that day. So I didn't do a fan poll, and I ended up not doing a vlog, which was shitty. Um, if this is the day I'm thinking it is, April 10th, so this is Wednesday. Yeah, I believe I met a girl named Ashley on Wednesday, and she was really cool. So I couldn't hang out with Danica, but I met this girl Ashley. It's not like a romantic thing or a dating thing or anything like that. She's a girl who's graduating this year. She used to be in the military, and we just had really crazy conversations. Like we were talking about anywhere from like the sky being different colors to determine like the weather to like watching videos where like babies pop out in like a C-section to like Jaws music to like Dr. Pimple Popper, just really crazy shit. But she was very like eccentric and off the wall. I really like really extroverted personalities like that. So that was cool. So that was like the highlight of April 10th, I think, really, was getting to talk with Ashley. Um, I also, I'm pretty sure, on Wednesday, worked on a writing project for somebody on Fiverr. They wanted me to write a quick, like, superhero profile write up for them before they went on a trip to Iceland with their family. They were going to travel to Iceland, and they were like, I'm going to have nothing to do. I'm just going to be, like, hanging out with my family with no internet. And they're like, I just want to read, excuse me, your ideas on a superhero and just draw pictures inspired by what you wrote. But I only had like 12 hours to do it, and I still had like class and like other shit. I ended up not finishing it, but I sent what I had worked on, and I worked on it with the mindset of what if this is the last thing I ever wrote? Like that was like a big part of it. And I really enjoyed doing it, but sadly I didn't finish it. I had like a pretty tight and very sudden deadline, and I didn't put it as a mandatory thing for me to do. I kind of treated it like a side project in a way because of the fact that I told them like don't buy it. Like what I'll do is I'll get as much of it done as I can, and if I don't finish it, I'm not gonna like charge you for anything. It's just something extra for me to do. because I was already not feeling like 100% that day, and it was just something for me to like do to keep me occupied, I guess. Mm. It just sucks when the first thing that happens in your day is just kind of shitty. That was the main thing that got me. Next up, April 11th. So that was Thursday. So now I'm going to be talking from the perspective of Thursday. When I woke up, I saw Sunny on Tinder. Sunny being the girl who, after I mentioned that I was like divorced, we like unmatched, and she sent me messages, but I couldn't see the messages. I saw Sunny on Tinder, and I was super confused. She changed her profile, which now says, "Be the reason why I delete this app." So I still don't really know what happened. I don't know if Sunny sent me messages and the idea of the messages are like, hey, I'm deleting this app now or whatever, and like, here's my number. I've gotten messages like that before, but if that was the case, then I don't think she'd have like a new profile or anything. Like, I guess what I don't know is I don't know if she like sent me a bunch of messages and unmatched because she deleted the app, and that she went to like the date thinking the date was still on, and then me just not being there. Like, I'm not sure if I stood her up on a date or if she like had called off the date because I never got to see her messages. We just unmatched. So I think that's just like a weird situation to be in. I think she just unmatched me because of the divorce thing, but I don't really know. I don't know the full story. You guys may or may not remember Skelly. Skelly is a girl that I either was texting. It couldn't have been last year. I think Skelly is a girl that I was messaging like 2 years ago on Amino. And Skelly is really cool. She's from Texas. She's really into like video games and art and things of that nature. And we used to try and do like phone dates and stuff like that. So we're trying to get back into like phone dates and like doing dates where like play video games and talk online. And we message each other like all day on April 11th, and that was really nice. Just to have someone to talk to all day. We did Gerard's campaign finale on April 11th, and that was cool. So, hmm. It's interesting to discuss. So, in Gerard's campaign finale, Kevin said, "Hey, what's up, Jet? Yo, Kevin, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy, and do any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream?" Just to give you like a quick refresher on what you've missed, Kevin. On April 10th, I more or less had like kind of a bad day. It was like kind of shitty. Uh, Now I'm talking about April 11th. That's like a pretty solid way to catch up, I think. I'm a little sweaty. I got back from a frat party that ended at like 2 a.m. It's now past 2 a.m. And I'm currently drinking a non alcoholic sangria. I've never had sangria before. It just tastes like old carbonated fruit. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. But yeah, April 10th was shitty. Also, I apologize for all the fan polls that have been missed and all the vlogs that have been missed. This week has been really weird, but I'm going to try and get back to doing regular daily uploads. So I apologize for that. I'm going to try to get better on that. So now, April 11th, I was talking about Gerard's campaign thing. And then Kevin said, a FAP party, you said? Wink, wink. Lol, just kidding. Yo, how have you been, Kevin? I want to hear more about what you've been up to. And I'm sorry that I haven't been doing daily videos, like I said. Let's see. So Gerard had his D&D campaign finale on Thursday. And Colin got upset that my character, who was low on health, didn't want to attack the final boss until after they attempted to fight a god. Because our final boss was trying to fight a god. That was like their whole thing. And I was like, I'm gonna wait for the final boss to like fight the god and get weak, and then afterwards I'm gonna like try to like kill the boss. But Colin's character wanted to try and convince the god to help us fight the final boss, and then once they couldn't convince the god to fight it, he just started fighting on his own, and then he got mad that my character, who didn't have a lot of health to begin with, didn't like jump into the fight with him. So that was really weird. Um, but let's see. Yeah, so I wrote out more of my plan in my notes. In my notes, I talked about how, like, regardless of what happened, if we didn't interfere, the final boss was going to try to fight the god, and either the god was going to kill the final boss, or the final boss, after, like, narrowly beating a god, we could just, like, snipe her and, like, beat her, or whatever. But I told Colin my strategy and explained why it made sense strategically and how it fit my character, and mentioned that in my weakened state, excuse me, my character wouldn't want to die. And then we then had a debate about how people don't want to die, with me being on the side of people not wanting to die. Colin's like, "You're being too realistic. Why wouldn't you risk your life?" And it's like, you just wouldn't. Also, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp earlier. Um, we ended up talking about that again today. And Colin was like, "I'm more upset that you didn't tell me, like, your backup plan or whatever." And then what I ended up saying to Colin is like, nobody said what their backup plan was. Everybody more or less only discussed what their plan was, not like what the backup plan would be. So I just thought that was odd. Um, but yeah, that's mainly what happened on the 11th, which was Thursday. So moving past the 11th, we're now on the 12th, which was Friday. This is the day that, like, just passed. Oh shit, I didn't write anything down. Cool. So the 12th, Thursday. Sorry, not Thursday. The 12th, Friday. This is the day that just passed. So on Friday, I realized that I had a lot of charger bucks left over. So I went to Dunkin' Donuts and I got like a couple big and toasteds. Also, forgot to mention on April 11th, I got a frozen chocolate for the first time. And it's really hard to explain what a frozen chocolate is. A hot chocolate, as you know, is like a warm chocolate flavored drink normally consumed during the winter. Frozen chocolate is like a cold chocolate flavored drink that's normally consumed during the summer months. If you've ever gotten a culotta at Dunkin' Donuts, it's essentially like a crushed ice drink with syrup, and culottes are normally like fruit flavors. So think of it as like a crushed ice slushy kind of thing. A frozen chocolate is just like a chocolate culotta, more or less. It's pretty bomb, not gonna lie. I realized that I really like it. So today I decided I was going to spend a few more of my charger bucks because it's getting near the end of the semester, and after the semester, charger bucks go away. So plus I'm not coming back here for like another semester. I'm graduating this semester, so I'm like, I need to spend these charger bucks like now. So I'm taking time to spend the charger bucks. I get two big and toasted and like another frozen chocolate. And I run into Beth at the CU, and me and Beth talk. She asked me what I'm doing today, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing like the last campaign of Colin's like D&D session. Sorry, I'm doing the last session of Colin's D&D campaign, which was today. And then Beth's like, oh, so that means you're just gonna be free on Fridays, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, so I'm like, oh, do you want to like do a date like next Friday or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I'm down. So we're gonna meet up at the CU around like 6 p.m. or so next Friday. Maybe see a movie, whatever movies at the CU, or just like hang out. But I feel like that'll be cool. It'll give me more of a chance to like get to know Beth and hang out with her more. We did the final session of like Colin's campaign, and it was really weird. Let me explain first how I felt about the final session of Gerard's campaign and compare the two to each other. So in the final session of Gerard's campaign, the big bad boss is defeated, and then we get to talk to this god horse, and the god horse more or less casts spells to grant what our wishes are. My character is like, I just want to go home to my lab now that I've been like cleared from my crimes, and I'll be able to like go home and just get back to working on homunculus. But the problem that my character had at the beginning of the story is that the homunculus that people were working on at like the research facility I worked at were being like tortured. Well, the crime I committed ended up making that illegal, so now I can return to my lab and not have to worry about homunculus being tortured anymore, and I'll no longer have like a criminal record kind of thing in his D&D campaign. So that was really cool. So everyone had their wish granted, and they got to like go home or do whatever they wanted to do. So that was dope. Now I'm going to talk about the end of Colin's campaign, but first, Kevin said, I'm doing okay. Just got home from work. He said, I'm currently uncertain what Yu-Gi-Oh decks I should play in Dueling Nexus, since I don't care for Link monsters myself and don't care for hand traps like Ash, and then he said, don't care for dangers. So you're trying to figure out what you want to play on Dueling Nexus. You don't want to play hand traps, you don't want to play dangers, and you don't want to play link monsters. I feel like that's totally achievable. Um, so I'm gonna tell you something that one of my friends would heavily disagree with. I recently made a new friend who plays Yu-Gi-Oh and Vanguard and Buddy Card Fight, Future Card Buddy Fight or whatever. He plays all those games competitively, and he's like, if you're not winning first turn, you're not playing the game right for Yu-Gi-Oh. I personally disagree. I like playing like stall decks, which are like the exact opposite of trying to win first turn. And I like playing boss monster decks, where it's like the whole point of the deck is to get like one guy out, and if you like make the right moves, you can use that one guy to just fucking annihilate your opponent or whatever, right? So I would say if you were to like ask me like what kind of stuff should you like try to do when figuring out what kind of deck you want to play, I would say figure out the kind of win condition you want. How do you want to win the match? And then build your deck around that win condition. Find a card that helps you win in that way and like build your deck around that card. Finding ways to support that card, to search that card, to be able to use it as like quickly and efficiently as possible without your opponent like dicking on you, or you can just ignore your opponent. Because I have decks like that, decks where my opponent could fuck me if I don't like get my thing out on time. But I built my deck entirely upon getting to that win condition, so I can just win. Um, a lot of people like Exodia. I don't fuck with Exodia. Um, I've been playing like Final Countdown and Empowered Warrior Ventra. But I'd say like find your own thing. Find like your win condition you want, and then start building a deck around that win condition. That's my advice. And then he said, is a Utopia deck any good? I do play a few decks that are built around summoning out like Utopia the Lightning or summoning out Heroic Champion Excalibur. Both are like pretty okay. Mm. I say a Utopia the Lightning deck isn't too bad. He's a pretty strong monster. You just get Utopia the Lightning out by summoning like a Utopia XYZ monster and then using it as XYZ materials to summon another Utopia XYZ monster, and then use that XYZ monster as material for lightning, and then you can use lightning to during the battle phase your opponent can't activate like card effects, and then if you're in a battle that involves Utopia the Lightning, you can increase Utopia the Lightning's attack to 5,000, and you can hit over most things. He's a pretty powerful monster. So I could see you building a deck around him. Just a generic Utopia deck though, like a deck built around like normal Utopia, probably. There's like plenty of support. I've just never done it. Any Utopia deck I run is built around Utopia the Lightning specifically. Mm. Hunter Family would be pretty good for that. Hunter Family is what I used to play back when I used to go to the Deep and compete in like tournament. They're really good for getting multiple level 4 monsters on the field with the greatest of ease so that you can go into Utopia just really quickly. Because Pawhonder lets you like normal summon like Mahonder or vice versa. And they can also get you like Brohunder and Sishunder, and then you automatically just get like 2 level 4s. And they count as like normal summons too. It's like you normal summon one of them, which lets you normal summon another one, and then you can XYZ summon into Utopia and then stack up to Lightning. That's what I normally like to do. And they have a support card that lets you use them to add materials to Utopia over time, which is also cool. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think that's like an okay strat, I guess, for Utopia the Lightning. I don't think I've optimized Utopia Lightning to like the best of its ability. Kevin said, "Thanks, I guess. I worry too much about which archetype when I shouldn't." Oh, no, that's fine. Um, I would say I'm getting more used to like mixed up decks. Like instead of focusing on like an archetype, I focus on like a card. Like I try to find like one card that I think is like going to get me there, and then I build the deck around multiple copies of that card, just whatever it is. Um, but that's just me. I wouldn't recommend that for everybody necessarily, but that's been my recent Yu-Gi-Oh playstyle. Um, oh, I was talking about Colin's campaign and how it ended. So today we had the last session of Colin's D&D campaign. Excuse me. And it didn't have a satisfying ending, in my opinion, mainly because at the end of the 12 session, maybe 11 session D&D campaign, I feel like I don't know what the goal of everyone's characters were. Like, after adventuring with these people for like hours and hours and hours and hours, and we finally beat like the final boss of the campaign, we then don't get to a point where everyone gets like a satisfying ending and you get to see what arc everyone's been building over the course of the whole campaign. You don't get to see what people's like goals were or whether or not they achieved them, and defeating the final boss didn't necessarily get any of us closer to our respective goals. It just felt awkward. It felt really awkward. And I feel like that heavily contrasts against how Gerard ended like his campaign, and even how Colin ended his first campaign. They both, after you beat the final boss, put you in positions where you can just like be closer to achieving whatever goal your character has, regardless of what that goal is. So in the first campaign, um, we like killed a god, and then Colin was like, "So you killed a god. Now the world is kind of in your debt. What do you want to do?" And then we each got to kind of just pick what we wanted to do, and then we could roll for like how close or far we got to our goal based off of becoming like heroes of the world. And I thought that was really dope. This time around, the way that Colin made it, he was like, beating the final boss broke the world. So now you've broken the world, you're all aware that you're like in a game, and that's it. You can just choose to no longer exist, or you can choose to continue to exist in this world knowing that you're in a game. And then that was it. That was like the whole thing. And I guess it just felt disappointing because I wanted to see arcs. I wanted to be like a conclusion. Like, hey, this is where all of this was going. This is where everything was heading. It was trying to get to the point where like you could achieve your personal character's goal, because why would you go on the adventure without trying to achieve your personal goals? And that just didn't happen. And I don't know. To me, that's just kind of gross. But that's just me. So, we ended up doing a lot of talking about like D&D. Max is really excited because he's, excuse me, planning to do a campaign. Excuse me, sorry, it's the sangria. Um, Max wants to do a campaign that takes place in a Skyrim inspired world. So he's creating a lot of things from the ground up, trying to recreate a lot of Skyrim into Dungeons and Dragons. Personally, I'm not a big Skyrim guy. I'm not super into like medieval fantasy, so I'm not really into like swords and sorcery kind of stuff. But I'm willing to give it a try, to explore that world and see what kind of characters and adventures I would go on. Avery also wants to DM a campaign. Um, Avery doesn't want to do Unearthed Arcana, and I feel weird on that. So he doesn't want to do Unearthed Arcana, and right now, Unearthed Arcana is what I'm really into. In Gerard's campaign, I'm very tongue tied. I played an Artificer, and Artificer is like an Unearthed Arcana thing. Now I'm really interested in Mystic, and Mystic is like an Unearthed Arcana kind of thing. And in Colin's campaign, I played like a homebrew like psychic, and that was an Unearthed Arcana, but it was an even more fringe thing than unearthed Arcana. Blah. My brain is just getting ahead of my mouth, and just everything's getting scrambled. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Avery not wanting to do Unearthed Arcana. He claims that I can pick something that already exists in the game, and then we can discuss how to flavor it, like how to like use our imagination and make it feel more like what I want to do in Unearthed Arcana. But I feel like flavor doesn't fit in for like mechanics. There are things that I want to do that I can only really do with like special classes that are in Unearthed Arcana mechanically. I can say whatever I want. Like I get where Avery's coming from, where he's like, if you want to be a dude who summons magic tentacles with all his spells, we can just say that all your spells summon magic tentacles to do whatever the spell effect is. And I understand that. Like if you're just trying to be like, here's how you flavor it to fit any situation you want, but it still fits within normal D&D rules. But there are just certain things mechanically that you can't really do. Kevin said, can't someone no longer be a god in roleplay? Like sacrificing slash destroying something very meaningful to the god, like a historic rune and or artifact, or using magic to do so? So, can't someone no longer be a god by like destroying something that like gives them their divinity? I'd say that's up to the dungeon master's discretion on that. Like whether or not the DM of the game is like, yeah, like I agree with that. In Colin's campaign, which is the same universe that Gerard and Matt's campaigns took place in, gods are weak to mistletoe. But also, there are other things that can weaken a god. Like, we weakened Oberon by another god killing a lot of his followers. There was a god who showed up, killed a bunch of followers of a god, and then once that god's followers like died off, that god got weaker. So we weakened that god indirectly by having a bunch of their followers get killed, which led to them having like less power. But then gods are also hurt by mistletoe. Like if you put mistletoe in a bullet, it'll like hurt a god. It was like an interesting like god kryptonite, I guess. So that was like another thing. And then we've killed gods before just by hitting them a lot. Like it's like gods only have so many hit points, so you can eventually just wear them down. They end up getting scaled to our party. So it's just weird. So I feel like it really depends on your DM, I guess, how you can kill a god. Because out of like multiple sessions with the same game master, we've seen godlike characters die in very different ways. So what you're saying makes sense. Like the idea of sacrificing or destroying something meaningful to the god, or like destroying an artifact or using magic to like strip divinity. I'm sure that's a thing, but I just feel like it depends on whoever your game master is. Yo, Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? Do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Also, Ryan, do you want to hang out today? So Colin and Gerard want to hang out today. And I told Colin and Gerard, hey, I love hanging out with you guys, but we hang out all the time. We have like regularly scheduled hangouts where we hang out for like hours and hours at a time. But Ryan, a lot of times, isn't available to hang out because he'll be like doing chores at home or he'll be like spending time with his family. And I know Ryan's free this weekend, so I wouldn't mind hanging out with Ryan. I also mentioned that like I get to hang out with Aiden only on occasion because Aiden will have like homework and stuff to do, so I'll end up spending like very short periods of time with Aiden. And I'm sure Aiden's free to hang out like a little bit this weekend. And I just think it would be cool for me to get to spend more time hanging out with like Aiden and Ryan because of the fact that I may or may not stay in the area after I graduate. I may have to move for work because it seems like all my conditional job offers are like out of state. And if I'm gonna be leaving like relatively soon, it just seems like I want to spend as much time with like all my friends as I like possibly can, which means not spending like 3 days in a row hanging out with the same people constantly when there are like other friends that I have that I want to spend time with. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Ryan said, sounds like the fam is cleaning today, specifically the sunroom closet. I might be able to hang out. Okay, keep me posted, Ryan. Kevin also said hi to Ryan. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that was like super eventful that happened today. I got to hang out with Max. I finally bought the. I finally bought a little like vacuum cleaner, like one of those push vacuum cleaners that doesn't have batteries or anything. So I'm gonna start vacuuming up my room and the hallway and stuff like that. So that should be fun. Um, I also have another gallon of milk, so that a nigga isn't starving. Um, I also got this non-alcoholic sangria. It tastes like old fruit, carbonated old fruit. Um, it's not bad. It's pretty good. It sounds bad though. I have no way of describing it that doesn't sound bad. Because it sounds like it tastes like carbonated rotten fruit. And you're like, rotten fruit? That sounds gross. And then I'm like, no, yes. And then Ryan said, take a swig of that old fruit. Old. Take a swig of that old fruit sangria. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. That's just what it tastes like. Mm. But it's not bad. I just don't know how to make it not sound bad. But yeah, hung out with the guys. We played a little bit of Pyre, which is that medieval fantasy basketball game or whatever, and that was fun. We played some Tekken. That was fun. We played some Smash. That was eh. It's been a hot minute since we played Smash. Um, but I think Pyre is where I get really hype. I got to bond with CJ a little bit. CJ always gets on to me when I like try to do role play in D&D. So today I like snapped at him a little bit, and he seemed to respect that. He was like, "Wow, I've been getting on to you all of these sessions, and you never snap back." And he's like, "Now that you snap back, for whatever reason, it's like he fucked with that." He was like, "Oh, that's great," and it just seemed like we had more of a rapport after that. So that was interesting. I just felt more friendly with CJ than I have in the past. Aiden was able to come by for D&D for a little bit. He didn't play. He just watched, and it was weird. It was only weird because Aiden he watches, but you can tell he's not super into it, and he would try to talk. And I don't mind talking with Aiden a little bit during D&D. Excuse me. But he would try to talk during stuff happening in D&D, and he would try to like make jokes where he would just say some unrelated shit, and it just wasn't landing. It just wasn't working. It was because of the fact that like I actually do want to pay attention to D&D. I'm not like just trying to talk to Aiden. But Aiden would be like really quiet, like I guess trying not to disturb what's going on in D&D. But then because he's so quiet, I can't really like fucking like hear Aiden because like the game's going on, and then if I try to hear Aiden, then like I'm not hearing the game. It was just kind of fucking me. Um, so it would have worked better, I guess, if Aiden only was trying to do that like during pauses. But if anything, it seemed like he would do it whenever just a lot of people were talking, and it's just like no, that just doesn't work. And I could tell that was frustrating Colin a bit. Kevin said, I would hang Jet if I lived in the same state and same city, or a city not too far, but sadly I don't. I'm all the way in New Jersey. If we could teleport, then that wouldn't even matter. Also, this is kind of like hanging out. It's like telepresence hanging out. Um, like how people do like Google Hangouts, where two people have a camera set up and they just talk to each other. It's just I have a camera set up and you're like typing. But I feel like it's the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's what I think of these vlogs as. Me being the hang being bleh, me being able to hang out with you guys. That's like a big thing. And then Ryan said Aiden being too quiet. That Aiden being too quiet is classic Aiden. My brain will skip so far ahead in a sentence that I'll try to say quiet and classic at the same time, and my mouth's like stop. um, that is classic Aiden. Aiden does like to be very soft spoken all the time. Um, Colin did upset me a little bit during today's campaign. It was like the not today's campaign, today's session. Today was the final session of Colin's campaign, and he really wanted us to like get to the oasis or whatever. And my character was having like a character moment that I felt was pretty important. Like something had happened where I don't think my character would have just like sat around and like not reacted. It was something where I definitely would have reacted, and I like need to react. And Colin just repeatedly was like, "We're going to the oasis. We're going to the oasis." He's like, "Shut up. We're going to the oasis. Like, stop doing anything else. You're going to the oasis." And I was like, that seems pretty shitty. Like, you know, because he was like, "I don't give a fuck about, like, anything that you're trying to do or how you're trying to, like, enjoy the game. We're just going to go to the oasis." And it's like, the role playing part of D&D is the main part I like. I don't really care about combat. I'm mainly like just playing my character and like going on an adventure. So when Colin is like, "Fuck your role playing, going to the Oasis," it's like, oh, cool. So I guess we're just not gonna have fun. The reason why we're going to the Oasis is to do a big ass fight. So I was like, oh, so make the part I like shorter so that we can do more of the part that I don't want to do. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so great. So then Ryan said Aiden being is classic Aiden. Then Kevin said that's fair. Then Ryan said to the Oasis. Colin also got mad because Matt, it was so fucking weird. Matt's character from Gerard's campaign came over into Colin's campaign and then killed Matt's character in Colin's campaign. And then Matt's character from Gerard's campaign died. So then both Matt's characters died. They pretty much just died like at the same time. And then Matt's character from Gerard's campaign left over a bunch of magical items. And they were trying to figure out ways to get rid of the bodies or whatever. And they were like, we can't really bury them because we're in a desert, so the sand will just blow off their bodies. So they're like, we should like cremate them. And then Gerard's like, I could like use a spell that'll like vaporize their bodies or some shit. But even after like Gerard used a spell to like try to vaporize them, and they like burn them in like a fire, they were still like, the items are still on the body. And then Matt's like, oh, there are items still on the body, and he has like this whole list of like crazy shit and magical items that were like on his character's person. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, so there are just a bunch of like items like on this nigga. And then someone was trying to like loot the body, and then Colin was like, no, like I'm not letting you guys have any more magical items. You're not getting like any extra shit. And then in my, like, I say this out loud. I'm like, why in real life will we not pick up the shit on the body? Like, like I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me why we wouldn't loot a body that's just covered in magical items, right? If they just have like a bunch of good shit on them. And then Colin was like, no, nobody's getting any more of the magical items. But the main thing I was trying to ask is like, why? Like, I get outside of game why no one would want any of the magical items. Because Colin's like, if you guys have a whole bunch of extra shit, it's gonna mess up like the boss that I've set up. But just like, there needed to be an in-game reason for why we couldn't fuck with those items. And instead of giving an in-game reason, and Colin's God, he literally could have said like anything that made sense, like the blight destroyed the items or the fire destroyed the items, but he was like, no, the items are just fucking there still after all that. And I was like, well, if they're still there, then we would like want to get them. And then Colin's like, to the oasis. And just like, but that's, you're just skipping over it. You're just skipping over the fact that they're there. Like, what's going on? Let's see. So Ryan said what? Oh, what's the what that you're saying, Ryan? I missed out on that. Then Nani said, wow, Nick, 3 days without vlogs. So I do apologize for that, Nani. I mentioned this earlier. On April 10th, I was just not having like a good day. April 10th was like really shitty. Then on April 11th, I got back from Gerard's D&D session, and I was just tired. I was just really tired because we got back from D&D, and then we hung out some more, and then I was like, I'm gonna do a vlog after we hang out. Excuse me, and I was just fucking exhausted. I just couldn't. Um, and then on Tuesday, I didn't do a vlog because of the fact that we got back. That was another we got back late thing. Wait, no, I did a vlog Tuesday. I just didn't do a vlog Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, so the main things that I'm upset about are missing the last 2 days vlogs and fan polls. I missed a fan poll Wednesday because I was supposed to have a date, but that date ended up getting canceled. I mentioned that earlier. Um, I changed on my Tinder profile. I took Kel's recommendation of being more forward about being divorced, and I put divorced in my Tinder profile. So then I ended up waking up the next day with multiple messages from the girl I was supposed to go on a date with. I only could see the notifications for the messages. I tried to click those notifications, and then she wasn't in my matched list anymore. So I just assumed the date was off. Now I don't really know. I don't know if I ended up standing her up. I don't know what the fuck her messages were. I don't know why exactly we got unmatched. It's just a bunch of fucking question marks. But April 10th was really shitty. Like, that was just weird to wake up to. I woke up to that and, like, a whole bunch of other shit that I didn't like, early in the morning. So it was just, like, a shitty day. So that's why I didn't do the vlog that day. I just wasn't feeling good. Um, so, yeah, that's the reason why we missed the vlogs. And then the fan poll for Thursday. Why did I not do the fan poll Thursday? Maybe I was just fucking tired. Why did I not do the fan poll Thursday? I don't fucking remember. But shit happened. Shit happened. But I'm gonna get back to my normal daily video schedule regardless. I am upset with myself that I've been fucking up the daily uploads. So I'm gonna get back on the grindstone. I gotta keep grinding out daily content. I enjoy these hangouts. I enjoy talking with you guys, and I don't want to keep missing these hangouts and missing these moments. So I'm gonna get back into the shit. Let's see. Then Kevin said, and I'd be like, "We're going to the swamp." Then Ryan said, "Cross campaigns." Yeah. So Matt, Gerard, and Colin have all been doing D&D campaigns that exist in the same universe. They're all in the same universe. Um, so it's possible for events in the other campaigns to spill over into each other, and essentially the end of Gerard's campaign jumped into the end of Colin's campaign, which is how we had characters cross over from some of the events from Gerard's campaign into Colin's, if that makes sense. Nani put a troll comment. Then Kevin said high five. Oh wait, never mind. Then Ryan said, actually, the sand will preserve their bodies in a desert. If buried sounds like you're underestimating the sand blowing to expose the bodies, bodies have been found in the desert preserve for hella long. He said the items could have been lost in the desert sands. And he said, tell us about April 10th. And then Kevin said, wasn't the fighting tournament Thursday? Charger Con was last Saturday. I had to flash back hella hard. But I'm pretty sure ChargerCon was last Saturday if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. So it was not Thursday. Thursday was Gerard's campaign. Like the final session of Gerard's campaign and some other shit. Do 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 do. So I'm just gonna read over well, no one's really asking about April 11th. April 11th, the biggest highlight of April 11th was the end of Gerard's D&D campaign, and Skelly reached back with me. So now I'm like doing phone dates and talking to Skelly again. And Kevin said, oh, last Saturday. Oh, okay. And then Ryan wanted to hear about April 10th again. So I'll oblige you with that. Because you weren't here for when I talked about April 10th earlier. So like I said, long story short, Kels had hit me up on the vlog. He was like, you should be more forward about being divorced. I added divorce to my Tinder profile, and then when I woke up, I had multiple message notifications from this girl, Sunny, that I was supposed to go on a date with. And then Sunny, I couldn't read any of her messages because we had unmatched. I don't really know why, but I felt really bummed about it. So I woke up kind of like, fuck, well, I guess that didn't work out. And then I woke up with an email that's like, hey, there's a virtual career fair today that you registered for. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I forgot all about that. So I better jump on that now. I woke up earlier than normal, so I didn't get as much sleep as I normally did. And it's like you got homework to do and you got laundry to do. So I like did my laundry and my homework. I tried to log into the virtual career fair, and I was like, fuck you, you can't log in. And I'm like, why? And I try to log in again, and it's like, fuck you, you can't go in. And it's like, but my credentials should be right, and I'm using the links within the email, and I changed things between when I tried to log in the first time and the second time to see if I could fix it. But no matter what I did, I couldn't log in. And I was like, well, I guess I just missed this opportunity to potentially like find a job. And then I was like, well, at least I can hang out with Danica. Me and Danica really like each other, and I always enjoy hanging out with Danica and talking about comic books. And I'm feeling pretty bummed today, but I feel like if I talked to Danica about how I felt, that she would like understand and we'd be able to like talk it out. And Danica's like, oh, I'm super busy. I got like multiple homework assignments. So I'm like, oh, I guess I won't talk to Danica today. So then I listened to some folk music. It's like Danica's favorite like genre of music. And I learned that I like folk music instrumentals. It sounds very cinematic, but I don't like folk music with lyrics because to me it just ruins it. And I ended up walking outside for a bit. I ran into a bunch of people I knew. I just didn't talk to them. I just didn't fucking feel like it. I was just sad, I guess. But I wasn't like sad, like, oh fuck. I guess, disappointed and just kind of like, I just had too much bullshit at once. I like overdosed on bullshit and I just can't deal with today. That was like my feeling for the most part on April 10th. Highlighted April 10th, I met this really eccentric girl named Ashley, and we had really interesting conversations. So yeah. So let's see. So jumping back up, Ryan said the fighting campaign Jet lost. You mean the fighting tournament? And then Kevin said, how'd the fighting tournament go? I don't recall you telling us about it. Oh, word? So I'm pretty sure I talked about it. I made dead last place in the fighting tournament. Hey, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I made hella last. The best fight I had in the tournament was the second fight of round one. In the second fight of round one, I got my opponent down to their last character. So we were both on our last character. Um, and I had essentially taken down their first two characters with the last guy I had left. Like, essentially, my opponent had whittled me down to where I only had one guy left, and then with that one guy, I took out two of their people, and then I was on their last guy. But their last guy was at full health, and I was like almost dead, so they ended up taking me out. But that was like the best I did in the tournament. Other than that, I wouldn't say that I got like completely stomped to where I couldn't do anything. I wouldn't say it was anything like that. But it was definitely a thing where the people I was going against were like really, really good. I tried my best to read them. Multiple times I was able to catch people off guard with like raw supers. A raw super, by the way, is where in fighting games there's this thing called damage scaling, where when you do a combo, the higher your combo gets, like the more hits in the combo, the weaker your combo becomes over time. It's essentially to prevent players from just killing you in one big combo by making combos deal less damage the more hits that are in it. So when you do a combo and then super, like you do a super move that deals a lot of damage, it makes your super really weak the more hits you do in the combo. So a raw super is doing a super without comboing into it so that it deals the maximum amount of damage. Multiple times in the tournament, I was able to catch my opponent slipping and activate a super without doing a combo. Just hit my opponent raw with a super for like a lot of damage. I was really happy about that. A lot of times when I play with my friends, I'll like fuck up and I just won't super when trying to super. So I was surprised at how consistently I was able to catch like professional players with like raw supers. I think that was like one of the biggest highlights. I had a fight where I think I caught somebody with like a raw super like 3 times, like in the same fight or whatever. It was like really ridiculous. And I remember one super, I would have hit my opponent, but it was a thing where you could angle it, and I accidentally angled the attack upwards instead of straight at my opponent, so I just fucking missed, and I ate shit for it, which really sucked. But you can't win them all. I still had a really fun time in the tournament, and I'm glad that I didn't have to worry about fighting any of my friends. I really wanted it to be like a new experience where I could like fight opponents in the tournament without having to face people that I fought before. So that was fun. Let's see. So where are we at? Ryan said lost, and then Kevin said like last place Ryan, and then Ryan said like last place, and Kevin said that's unfortunate, and then Ryan said rip talking to Dan. Oh, talking to Danica, hard rip. Then Nani said finally a Nick stream. He said where's Winslow? Winslow was actually in the D&D stream for a little bit. He like watched us play D&D. Let's see. Then Nani said, so did you get murked by bruh named Cripple? Speaking of Cripple, I'm going to switch over real quick to talking about Colin's D&D campaign again. We're going to switch back in. Because it got on some interesting bullshit on the boss fight. And it wasn't even Colin's fault. It kind of was, though. But we'll get to that. So, to get to the final boss, we had to go through this labyrinth of plants. And it was very clear that the final boss could control the plants in the labyrinth. He could just make them do whatever he wanted. He could just do all kinds of crazy shit. And in my mind, I was like, why doesn't he just fucking kill us? Because if we're walking in this labyrinth that's just made of plants, and the boss we're fighting just has complete control over everything in the labyrinth, I was like, then we should just fucking die. Like, he should, like, make thorns come out and just rip us to pieces. He should make Venus flytrap come out the ground and just bite our heads off. Like, the boss knows we're coming. He knows we're trying to kill him. He knows he's weaker. It's like he knows what we're trying to do and what we've done before to get here and that we're like competent. He shouldn't be taking this lightly. He should be just trying to murder us. But he doesn't. So the bad guy just kind of like tries to toy with us the whole time. And then we eventually get to like his secret underground lair, which is just more fucking labyrinth, but it doesn't look like it at first. So we talk to the boss. The boss tries to monologue us, and all of us are like, fuck that, we don't care, we're just gonna kill you, like, fuck you. And Colin kind of got upset that we didn't want to, like, hear the bad guy monologue. And it's like, of course we don't. I feel like Colin would have done better by trying to tell the story through the fight. Like, having the bad guy just try to talk to us like real people. Because real niggas don't just monologue. Excuse me. But Colin was kind of pissed that he couldn't just, like, monologue us, like, explanation, just exposit the story. So we just start the combat. And he's like, the bad guy just makes the labyrinth show up here. Just suddenly, the labyrinth's just back, and you're all separated, and you gotta fight. And I was like, that's cool. I'm, like, actually totally fine with this. And I have the ability, like I said, to make, like, psychic clones or whatever. And the clones, whenever they take damage, they, like, explode, and they deal damage to, like, enemies in the environment. So I'm like, game's easy. I don't know where the boss is necessarily, but I can send a clone out, and he can just run and, like, find the boss. And if the clone gets attacked, it'll just blow up, and it'll just hurt anything in the environment. So whatever attacked it will just get fucked. So this will be easy. And then CJ's character, like, finds me before my turn and goes, the boss is just over here. And I'm like, oh, cool. I can just make a clone. That nigga can just find the boss. And then he can just, like, fuck the boss up. This is great. So I send a clone out. And then Do I send a clone out, or does the boss get to me first? I might send a clone out, but I don't fully remember. I don't think I do. I think the boss might get to me first. So the fucking boss, because they control the labyrinth, they just make it where they can just run through the labyrinth walls. They just tell the walls to get the fuck out the way, and they just run straight through and just he had the ability to just stomp on people, which Gerard was really confused about. He's like, "Is that in the game?" He's like, "Is that like a real mechanic?" And then Colin's like, "It's an edited version of a real thing." But essentially, what it made the boss able to do is the boss can just be like, "Oh, you're in front of me, bitch, bitch." He can just do that, and then you just take like a shit ton of damage. So he can just be like, fuck you too," and there's just nothing you could do about it. It's like him moving is an attack, and it's like, oh, well, that's great. So he can just walk through all the labyrinth walls, and he can just like stomp on us. So a couple times during the like session, I would do my thing that makes it where like I can react to taking damage. So instead of taking the damage, I make a clone that takes the damage, and I appear adjacent to the clone. And then Colin's like, "Cool." I step on the clone. The clone blows up. The boss is immune to psychic damage. And I was like, "Immune to psychic damage? Nigga, I'm a psychic. That's like the main thing I do." And Colin's like, "Yep, fuck you." Okay, and so I took a step. I stepped on a clone. That's cool. It blows up. It does nothing to me. Um, you only get to react to one attack. So you reacted to that. That's cool. He's gonna keep walking. He walks to where you are now. You can't make a clone. Fuck you. Okay, cool. Moving on. Just gonna keep walking. So I was like, this is, I don't know how this is gonna go. It's getting kind of weird. So let me scroll up. I feel like I've missed like a few things. Oh, I was reacting to Nani saying cripple. I'll get to that. That becomes really important later. So Ryan said Winslow's probably like micronationing. Fuck me. I kept trying to say macro. Excuse me. Kevin said, "Do you recall what characters you were using in the tournament?" Oh, in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. In the tournament, I was playing Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Super Saiyan Goku, and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Let's see. Then Ryan said, "What?" Then he said, "Takes a swig of the old fruit before starting about the campaign." Facts. And then Ryan starts, he says, "Labyrinth talk reminds me of Magi." Kevin's like, "What's Magi?" Then Ryan's like, "It's a great anime and a manga series." Then Kevin's like, "I know Labyrinth Wall is a Yu-Gi-Oh monster." And then Ryan's like, "It's called Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic." Kevin's like, "Cool." Then Ryan goes into more detail about the show, and he says, "You'll have to like check out that manga. It's worth it." So now I'm caught up on the live chat. Okay. So, even though Colin could just step on niggas, it wasn't that bad. Sure, he could step on me, but I still had a plan. He ends up stepping on me at one point, and he like knocks me away from him, and I'm like, "Cool." Now that I have some distance between me and him, in game, I don't know that he's not hurt by psychic damage. I just think he's tough. I don't know that he's actually just immune to the shit. So in the game, I'm still like sending out my clones or whatever, but I finally unveil like my secret weapon, and that's that I can animate like tiny objects, and I can have those tiny objects like fight for me. So I animate like a series of like figurines, and my character's like a toy maker. I've been collecting figurines this whole time and trying to buy figurines wherever I could find them, just for like this moment, so I could finally unveil my big power and like what I do. This is like my character gimmick. It's a really important thing to me. So I like animate the figurines and I send them out, and I have like 10 figurines that I control, and they each can deal 1d4 plus 4 damage. And everybody's like, "Please, for the love of God, don't roll 10d4 and like add 4 damage to each one." They were like, "Fuck that. We're just gonna take like the median damage. If you land the hit, just hit for like 60 damage flat. We just won't even roll for it. You just deal 60. And the figurines get +8 to hit. So I like roll a d20, add 8, and then if it's enough to hit, the bad guy just takes 60 damage. So things started looking on the up and up. I was like, cool. Now I can just kind of like fuck up the bad guy. I can just have my figurines fight them. I don't have to be anywhere near him to get like stomped on. I can keep sending like my clones over, and when my clone stands next to the bad guy, my friends get advantage on attacks against the boss. That's just great. Um, so then CJ had to fuck it up. And I'll explain that in a moment. So Kevin said, I need to finish watching the Full Metal Alchemist series. He said, I don't remember where I left off, so I don't mind starting over from the beginning. Also, I'll most likely and watch the movies again as well. And he said, I'll check it out, Ryan, in reference to Magi. So cool. I never really got into Full Metal Alchemist. I tried watching some of the original and watching some of Brotherhood, um, but it just never really appealed to me. Um, then Ryan said, swig the fruit, Sissa Sangria. So, fucking CJ. So, CJ knows we're in a labyrinth. We're in a labyrinth that can be controlled and fully manipulated by the boss. He can control where walls go. He can make walls appear and disappear. He can trap you in rooms. He can summon like dangerous plants that can like attack you and shit. And CJ goes, you know what would be great? A tsunami. I'm gonna summon a tsunami in this labyrinth. Now, to be honest, that wasn't what CJ originally was gonna do. CJ originally was gonna send the boss to hell. He has a power that can like send an enemy to another dimension, right? And he's like, I'm gonna like burn this really strong power. And I'm gonna send the bad guy to another dimension. And pretty much everybody was like, don't waste your really powerful spell to try and send him to another dimension because he's the final boss. So even though that probably would work, Colin's gonna be like, no, it just doesn't work. Just fuck with it. I'm not gonna explain why it doesn't. It's just not gonna work. So CJ is like, well, I shouldn't do something that we all know isn't gonna work. And I just got this new really powerful spell. I'm gonna make a tsunami. And like as he's saying this, I'm like, oh fuck. Like, please, for the love of God, like, don't make a tsunami in a labyrinth. Like, this is this is just a horrible idea. We're just all gonna get fucked. And then everybody's like, hey, stop trying to like tell CJ what to do. No one had that mindset back when that nigga wanted to send the boss to hell. Everybody was very clear, don't don't do that. But when I'm like, don't make a tsunami in a fucking labyrinth, everybody's like, oh come, don't let him play his character. Nobody let him play his character like 2 seconds ago. So CJ summons a tsunami in the enclosed space of this labyrinth. And Colin goes, it does nothing to the boss. He just straight up just is like, so the boss gets hit by the wave, and the wave doesn't do shit, and now there's water everywhere, and the boss can move through the water normally. He can just ignore all the water. The water just does it. He ignores the tsunami. So I'm like, cool. And then CJ's like, everybody who's within the reach of this like 300-foot wave is just gonna get fucked. But not the boss, just only friendly people. So because he made the wave right in front of the boss, it like hits the boss, it hits me, it hits my fucking like figurines, and it hits like my psychic clone or whatever. Like it just fucks up everything I'd been doing. Everything that I had like planned gets like riggedy wrecked by this fucking tsunami. So I have 92 health. I get hit by this fucking tsunami. And I got hit by the boss like stepping on me earlier. So now a nigga is at like 28 health. I went from 92 to 28 health. The tsunami. No. I don't think I was at 28 yet. I was maybe at like 30 something health, right? The tsunami waters pull me down through the labyrinth, and then I get to a point where there's like a gate, and the gate is apparently 5 feet thick, the way that Colin describes it. The gate slams down on my body. He's like, do a dexterity check with disadvantage. So I do a dexterity check with disadvantage, and he's like, oh, you fucked up. You disadvantage, which means you take the lower of 2 rolls. You didn't make it. You didn't make the check. So the gate crushes you. It hits you like right down the middle of your body. You're just fucked. So you're trapped under this gate, and I think that lowers me to 28 health, getting like crushed under the gate, right? Colin is like, okay, so the boss walks up to like where you are, Jet, and he lifts up the gate. He drags you from under the gate, and then he Bane style breaks your back. And I was like, what? Is that like a real attack? Is that like something that he can like just normally do? For the rest of this game, the boss never does this to anybody else. It doesn't pick up anybody else and do a Bane backbreaker to no other character in the game. I took 25 damage and was paralyzed. Colin's like, you can't move. You no longer can move. You're paralyzed. He broke your spine. You have 3 health. And that nigga like threw me back in the water. And Colin's like, now you're drowning. Now you're drowning. You're drowning and you're paralyzed and you can't move. And that nigga fucked me. I don't think I've ever felt so targeted in my life. And it was a thing where Colin's character, right? He got put in a situation where a bunch of like my allies were like in the area, and that nigga was like, hold up. And he went out of his way to like go up to my character and like fuck with my character, and then go back to where all my allies were. And then I was like, oh man, I'm fucking dead. And everybody's like, you're not dead. He's surrounded by us now. Like, we're gonna be like fucking him up and like fighting. And I'm like, he was surrounded by you guys like a moment ago. And he just said, give me one moment. Where were we? I'm sorry. I had to handle something over there. So I was like, I'm just fucking dead. Like, next time that nigga goes around, I'm gonna die. Let's see. So, Ryan said everyone drowns in fruit. He said, use Sangha of Thunder to use the water, the shock, the enemy gate guardian style. Then Kevin said, Ryan lol. Then Ryan said, Colin be singing, singling you out. There we go. I don't know. What fucking time is it? My brain is like, why am I fucking up reading English? And then it's like, why have you not slept? It is 3:27 a.m. Got me. So Ryan said, Colin be singling you out for spinal destruction. So I'm sitting here in the water, drowning. And I'm like, I'm absolutely fucked. And I try to like think of things I could do to like still help, even though I'm paralyzed. So I'm thinking I can still make my psychic clone form, and it wouldn't have a broken spine. It could just move as normal. So I could make like a psychic clone, and then, excuse me, maybe I could use that clone to like pull the figurines back and then mend the figurines together using magic and then animate the figurines again so that I could get back to what I was doing before. Because even though my spine's broken, I can still use the psychic clone to cast spells as if it was me. So I'm like, I think I can still do the same things I was doing before, even though my back's fucking broken. I'm in more pain than I've ever been in my entire life. So I'm like trying to figure this out, and then I end up getting like riggedy fucking wrecked. Um, I'm not sure if Colin comes over and just steps on me one more time or what, but my nigga gets dropped to like 0 hit points. So I'm dropped to 0 hit points, and Colin's like, you gotta do like some death saving throws. So I do a death saving throw and I fail. And then the next time I do a death saving throw, I got like a natural 20. And they're like, oh, you're back to like 1 hit point. See, you didn't die, Jet, or whatever. So I'm alive. And then Colin's like, the world gets flipped upside down. Like, the boss has the ability to make everybody, like gravity, get inverted. So now everyone's gonna get thrown onto the ceiling, which is like covered in like thorns and shit. And I get hurt on the thorns when everything gets like flipped, like topsy turvy or whatever. Because he's like, everybody do like a dexterity check. And I'm like, I can't do a dexterity check. I'm paralyzed. I can't do shit. So he's like, oh, well, you just get fucked. And he's like, everybody who's can fly can just kind of not get fucked if you can fly. And then everybody who's not a player character, you just get impaled and you die. You die like right then, just from like getting hit on the spike. I'm like, sheesh. So I got back to like 0 hit points because I got impaled on a spike. So it's like, oh cool, I'm paralyzed and then impaled on a spike. Like I don't see how like more useless my character could become. But CJ feels bad because his tsunami is what like fucked me over. So he comes over and he uses a really powerful spell called Heal. And Heal just straight up gives me 70 hit points. I'm like, woo! And then they're like, but you're still paralyzed. I'm like, oh, that sucks. So I think at first I just like tried to make like a psychic clone of myself. But they're like the psychic clone can't really do anything. Because even though it can walk, the ceiling is covered in thorns. So everywhere you walk, you automatically take damage. And because the ceiling was covered in thorns, whenever my clone takes damage, it just explodes. So it couldn't walk anywhere. I could just make a clone where I was, and then that would be it. It would just like stand there, and then it could do like long distance attacks and shit. But then the labyrinth walls, and this tripped me out. They were like, the labyrinth walls are so tall that they also touch the ceiling. So you're just essentially where you were before, but there are thorns. And there's no water because we're on the ceiling. So now that we're on the ceiling, there's still walls in your way. You can't just get to the bad guy and like shoot him. So I was like, oh, I can like make a clone, but now my clone is like useless. It can't walk anywhere, and it can't shoot the bad guy because the bad guy's behind like multiple walls. So fuck me, right? Um, and then Colin's like, you can't pull any of your figurines because your figurines like slid under the gate or whatever. So when the gate fell, your figurines got like crushed under it, so you can't animate your figurines. And I'm like, damn, that was like my whole thing. I only got to use the figurines like once, and they dealt like 60 damage to the boss, and that's like all I was really able to do with them. So the next time my turn comes around, I'm like, I think I understand what I can do, and I take my gold coins that I have, and I animate 10 of my gold coins. Like, fuck my figurines. I'm about to die anyways, so I might as well just like use my money and just animate my money. So my body's paralyzed. I'm lying impaled on like a thorn in the ceiling, and then I animate my money, and my money just flies. So it follows my companions to figure out where the boss is, gets to the boss, and then hits it again for like 60 damage. Um, Avery's character dies. Max's character gets knocked unconscious, but once the boss is defeated, everybody just ends up coming back to life in a place called Session Zero, and Colin gets really meta and reveals that everybody's in a game. And that's how Colin's campaign ended. And it was just really weird. But Nani, when you said cripple, it reminded me of the situation I was in. But yeah, um, it's now like an hour and 20 minutes into the stream. I'm pretty sleepy, not gonna lie. This sangria isn't as cold as it was an hour and 20 minutes ago. I think it's about time for me to go to bed. But I would like to thank you all for watching. I'm going to get back to doing daily uploads, so I hope you're excited for us to get back to doing the fan poll videos and the vlogs every day. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding, 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 ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Thank you all once again for tuning in. Shout outs to Nani, Ryan, and Kevin. Thank you to everyone who's watching this video and everyone who subscribed to the Nickabenson Nation. Please stay tuned for more content. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Peace. I'll see you guys soon.